Good morning, everybody. How you guys doing today? Today is Sunday, March 10th, 2024. It's a beautiful day. A little bit sleepy today. I'm sure you guys all know why, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And my name is Soul Bouquet. Today's show is sponsored by the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. Be sure to hit the subscribe, like button, and the notification bell to get alerted to any of the future content that we do. And if you're interested in sponsoring this episode at all, or just any episode of Good Morning Everybody, please reach out to us at contactgoodmorningeverybody@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to talk about that. Having said that, I'm actually drinking like a cinnamon latte today, but instead of it being with rice milk, it's with almond milk. And I like the little bit of nuttiness that kind of brings to it. So highly recommend. It is a good latte. It's been keeping me going on this very sleepy day. But to start off today's show, I want to talk about today's moment in history, which is actually 1876. It was the first speech transmitted by telephone. I didn't know that, actually. Apparently, this was, of course, Alexander Graham Bell. The first discernible speech is transmitted over a telephone system when inventor Alexander Graham Bell summons his assistant in another room by saying, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want you." Bell had received a comprehensive telephone patent just 3 days before. Pretty quick turnaround there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, 1876, and we're going to be coming up on like the 150th anniversary of having phone technology pretty soon here. I think it'll be, if I'm doing my math right, that's 2026 is the 150th anniversary of that. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so we're going to move on. We're going to talk about some stuff today. There's a lot that I want to talk about. I think it's going to be pretty fun, pretty cool. Firstly, though, and most important for anyone that's going outside today, we want to talk about weather a little bit, of course. Looks like today's weather is actually going to be a little bit better. You know, we did spring forward last night. It is, I don't want to say the start of spring. I know spring is technically here, but I feel like you spring forward, we're getting more daylight now. I feel like spring is officially kind of here, so we're getting slightly warmer temperatures, but to start off, not as wet as it was yesterday. Of course, you know, northwest and northeast seaboards are going to have a little bit of chance of precipitation there. So it's going to be a little bit rainy for those areas. And this is, of course, just the mainland in the United States. Weather-wise, it's not looking too bad right now. It's certainly sunny where I am. It's looking like we're going to get some snow, some icy conditions in the Great Lakes area, as well as some icy / rainy conditions in the northwest seaboard. However, having said that, temperature-wise, we're looking a little bit better today. Of course, there's a bit of a cold front coming down to the Great Lakes area, as well as the Midwest of the United States. But temperatures are a little bit higher. It's looking like it's a little bit more like late 40s, early 50s right now. Hopefully it'll warm up as the day goes along, but just keep that in mind. Bundle up a little bit if you have a commute today. And of course, precipitation amount currently is pretty negligible. Panhandle, Florida, actually getting a little bit of rain there as well, which is interesting. But having said that, again, much better than it was yesterday. It was a dreary, rainy day yesterday. So moving on, of course, we did spring forward. We sprang forward, and so we lost an hour of sleep. I'm a very eepy man today. But that got me thinking, actually. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of daylight savings time, because I was under the impression, much like I would assume most people are, that it was just an invention by Benjamin Franklin, because I think as Americans, we attribute a lot of things that are weird or don't make sense to Ben Franklin. But apparently that's not the case. Even though he did come up with an idea along the lines of DST, apparently Germany was the first to do it, actually. It was first introduced in Germany in 1916 during World War I as a way of energy saving. And then, of course, the United States adopted it pretty quickly after that as well. So it was actually a World War I implementation, which I find interesting too. And we've kind of flip-flopped a little bit back and forth between using it and not using it. Of course, now we pretty much use it across the board, and it's an annual change that we have to go through every single year. But there are people that are pushing to actually get rid of daylight savings and actually stick to a permanent time schedule. There's a lot of, controversy with that. A lot of scientists kind of speaking up about, like circadian rhythms and what's best and healthiest for us as human beings. But I just find it interesting that not only are the origins of daylight savings time a little bit more complicated than that, but also, there's actually talks about, permanently switching to just a single sort of time frame. So we might not have to deal with being eepy twice a year or once a year. I think the other one actually feels a lot better, but I still get kind of tired when we spring backwards or fall back a little bit. Yeah, you get an extra hour of sleep, but it throws me off enough that I still feel kind of tired that day. So we might not have to deal with that very much going forward, but who's to say actually. Anyway, having said that, drink plenty of coffee today. Make sure you take care of yourselves. And, by the end of the day, I'm sure we'll be back to normal. But I do want to talk about the end of today. Today is a very important day. Today is the Oscars, and that's going to be starting. There's going to be a lot of live streaming and a lot of coverage of the Oscars, but the actual ceremony itself is going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which I believe is 4 p.m. Pacific. And that's going to be the beginning of the Oscars. There's a lot of really interesting and cool films sort of up for nomination today. Be sure to check out, I'm sure, any streaming service and any channel. This one says ABC, but, you can watch it pretty much anywhere. Support your favorite artists, support the movies that you enjoyed watching this past year. And yeah, that's going to happen today. But it is not without some controversy, or some of my friends call it controversy. Apparently, there is a movie that is up for nomination. The Holdovers. Now, I didn't watch this movie. Full disclosure, I did not see this. I didn't get a chance to. It's been a busy year. But it's been doing pretty well for itself, apparently. The Holdovers has been a pretty smashing success. It's got some big names in it. It's got Paul Giamatti in it. It's up for, where is it? Yeah, it's up for Best Picture, and it's up for Best Screenplay right now. It's doing pretty well on Rotten Tomatoes as well, and it's actually... apparently, over like a 3-week period, it's earned about $6.4 million, which it's doing pretty well for itself. It's actually a pretty successful movie. But on the eve of the Oscars, of which this is, up for nomination for some pretty big awards, there's actually a little bit of controversy. Apparently, a screenwriter by the name of Simon Stevenson, it was actually on January 12th that this happened, apparently. But this became big news, of course, on the eve of the Oscars. He wrote a screenplay called Frisco. It was never actually made into a movie, but it is a screenplay that he wrote. And that kind of circulated the blacklist for a little bit, about like a decade ago, called Frisco. He wrote that. And he wrote the Writers Guild of America basically being like, hey, The Holdovers is kind of a line-by-line copy of the screenplay that I wrote 10 years ago. And that turned into a big exchange, of course. The unfortunate bit about this is that he actually does have proof and documentation of having circulated this to the director of The Holdovers, who I believe is, what's his name? I forget his name currently, unfortunately. Payne. So Alexander Payne directed the Holdovers, and apparently he did actually circulate that to him at the time that it was on the blacklist, where people were like viewing screenplays and seeing if they wanted to produce them. So there is some documentation there that maybe Alexander Payne did actually read this and maybe copy it, allegedly, of course. But a quote from Stevenson, apparently he wrote this in a note after his exchange with the WGA, that the evidence the Holdovers screenplay has been plagiarized line by line from Frisco is genuinely overwhelming. Anybody who looks at the briefest sample pretty much invariably uses the word brazen. Ooh, that's not great. That's not great. Plagiarism is a huge no-no, and especially if there's actual like evidence that the person who has made this movie that is the suspect, essentially, there is documentation that they've read this and ingested it in some way. It's even worse. And so, in another article, of course, the copying is so comprehensive that it seems likely that The Holdovers was created by importing Frisco into screenwriting software, directly overtyping the transposition on a line-by-line basis. Now, of course, we don't know where that report comes from. That could just be Stevenson talking more to Variety. But that is pretty damning, unfortunately. And, this movie is up for nomination today. And so it's going to be interesting seeing how that plays out. If it does actually win any awards, that might be, significant enough to sort of bolster a case for Stevenson to maybe garner some lost wages there, whether that's through some sort of legal action or maybe just a negotiation behind the scenes. But I just find it very interesting that there is a major motion picture up for nomination that is in the middle of this sort of, drama that it very well could be that Frisco was plagiarized to make this movie happen. So having said that, I'm going to let you decide for yourselves. You can, of course, read through all of these articles and all of these sources. I'm going to have them linked down below in the description. Please feel free to take a look for yourself and come up to your own conclusions. Again, I didn't watch The Holdovers, but reading this, looking at the different sources and reading the essential line by line of both movies, it does seem pretty close, unfortunately. So, having said that, the Oscars are going to be fun either way, but it is just a little bit of an interesting tinge this year, and we're going to see how that plays out on screen. So, that's going to do it for the news today. Having said that, I want to talk a little bit about our two artists that we have highlighting today. The first artist that we're going to talk about, actually, I'm not sure who the name of the artist is, but it's a piece that I got from a horror convention recently. And it's, I love The Crow, the movie. And me and my wife were just kind of looking through some potential posters to get, and we saw this, and it is a movie poster of The Crow, but it's done up in sort of Japanese typography, and I just couldn't get enough of it. I think it's beautiful. I love the art style. I love how it's sort of incorporating the elements of The Crow into something that's a little bit more Japanese, and I think it's just very cool to look at. It's currently hanging in our place, and yeah, so I just want to highlight, if anyone knows who this is or can read Japanese and tell me what this says, I would love to actually hear about that and maybe be able to highlight this person a little bit better. But unfortunately, I don't know this person's name. It's just a piece that I got at a convention at one point. But it's beautiful. I wanted to show it off. I thought you guys would like it. Moving on, I do actually have a bit of a thing that I want to talk about. We are going to talk about the Small Creator Club today, and I'm actually going to re-highlight the review dudes, because I talked about the review dudes yesterday, and I did not have a clip queued up for them, unfortunately, and I felt bad about that. So we're going to talk about the review dudes again. They're going to be linked down in the description. If you want to go and watch their stuff, please do. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a taste of what their vibe is, because I love these guys. They're so funny. So let's go ahead and get this queued up real quick. And we're just gonna give you 30 seconds of the review dudes.
I'm gonna walk in. I'm gonna say, "Oh, I didn't see you there." Whoa, didn't see you there, duders. My name is. Whoa, I didn't see you there. Whoa, I didn't see. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Oh, didn't see you there. Hey, duders, we're the review dudes, and today we're gonna be reviewing this dude.
Yeah, so if you want to see more of that, go and subscribe to the review dudes. They are genuinely hilarious. That is just a mere iota of their talent. And so, yeah, they're going to be linked down in the description below. Just go ahead and click their channel and subscribe, alert, all of that. Make sure you give them some love. Having said that, let's move on to the quote of the day, and let's really wrap up this episode on a good note. I know it's been we've talked about some drama today. We've talked about the woes of springing forward and not being able to get enough sleep last night. But the quote of the day is, thanks to Brainy quote, it is, "Surprise is the greatest gift which life can grant us." And you know what? I agree with that. I think that if it weren't for surprise and unexpected things in life, for as much as they sometimes can be unwanted surprises, I think that's really the spice of life. And that's what keeps us moving. That's what keeps us on our toes. And it really is sort of like the glue that holds us all together, is that we oftentimes as human beings have to deal with stuff that we weren't expecting. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but we all have to deal with those things. And if we support and bolster each other, it can really go from being a profoundly negative thing to a profoundly inspiring thing, and actually keep us motivated and keep us going. So I hope you get surprised today. I hope it's a good surprise too. So daily affirmations going forward, I'm just going to reread the ones from yesterday, because there's something about the daily affirmations from yesterday that just really resonated with me. So I'm just going to read them again. I really want you guys to take them to heart. So I want you to be kind to yourself today. Drink plenty of water and get some sunshine, especially today. It's a really nice, beautiful day today. Do that if you're able to. Most of all, keep your chin up. Every day that you wake up is a victory. You're already winning if you're watching this. And if you're a winner, then there's nothing you can't do. So whatever your goal is, whatever your dreams are, chase them. Run after them, because it's really only a matter of time before they become reality. Chase your dreams, because they're yours. Just takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of work. So with that will conclude today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys want to support this show, this channel, click that subscribe button, click the like and notification bell. We are going to be setting up Patreon at some point soon here. That's what this is for. I have a template kind of set up ready to go for Patreon, but I didn't really actually do any of the back end stuff yet. So if you want to become a patron of this channel, if you want to support the channel, that will be available to you very soon. And then of course, if you're a patron, your name's going to go right here. You're going to be a producer on this show. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.